Maria, Maria. All right, enough horsing around. We sound good. Buckle up. This one goes, The Buy Now, Pay Later Trap, explained by Grant Radeau. All right, got 3 million views. Oh, we're in for a good one, baby. Buckle up. Let's blow this guy up here. Let's go full screen for this one. Let's party. That should be fun.
Why is paying for so addictive?
I literally once financed a bottle of body wash.
You know what? I'm gonna afterpay this. It's gonna make me feel less guilty to pay it in 4 installments of $81 or whatever.
That's like having a black American Express to me. I can use it anywhere, anytime I get ready.
I'm using Klarna to pay for these Chris Brown tickets.
Look at this chart right here. This shows the total non-housing consumer debt in America over the last 10 years. And in
Real quick, can we just back it up? Just back it up for a second. That pitch, that had to be like undercover kind of advertising right there. Listen to that. It's like a black Amex card for me. It's like a black American Express card for me, dude. Like, who talks like that? Listen to it real quick before we get into charts and stuff.
Like having a black American Express to me. I can use it anywhere, anytime I get ready.
I'm using Klarna to pay for these Chris Brown tickets.
look at this chart right here.
Am I tripping? No, I'm not tripping, dude. That's undercover brother shit right there.
This shows the total non-housing consumer debt in America over the last 10 years. And in 2024, Americans collectively owe more than $5 trillion, which is enough to pay for every NFL, NBA, and MLB team 10 times over. And to make matters worse, we are constantly surrounded by psychological tricks and hidden fees to drive us further and further into debt. The worst of these tricks, the buy now, pay later programs that have been designed to take advantage of young adults.
Preach.
So when you buy a $100 pair of shoes and you only have to pay $25 that day, and then the pair of shoes show up at my apartment 3 days later, the shoes are $25. Why do I care if in 2 months I have to pay another $25? I don't know me 2 months from now. She can deal with that.
Buy now, pay later.
She goes, that's future me's problem, dude. It's future Jessica's problem. You know what the worst is, though? The worst is like, because I think with these buy now, pay laters, I've never used one before, but there's no interest, right? Maybe a late fee kind of deal, which probably most people get hit with. But my favorite is like the credit card. They just give you like a $4,000 limit. And they go, hey, guess what, buddy? It's interest free till next June. Yeah, 9 months from now. And you're going, oh, swing. You go, I'll be able to pay back $4,000 by next June. Come on, dude. How do I know this? It actually happened to me recently. Literally, my interest rate goes up in June, and I just got $3,000 sitting on this credit card. The difference between me and a lot of other people is I could just pay off the $3,000, but how many people aren't going to have the $3,000? Yeah, that's my favorite. So this is kind of the same, not the same thing, but we're going to learn a lot today. We're going to have fun. But that's the best, interest-free till June. That's how they get you.
There is a short-term financing option that is offered by companies like Affirm, Klarna, or Afterpay. You'll typically see these options pop up on e-commerce stores, offering you the ability to buy what you want today while deferring your payment over a certain number of installments. So if you're looking to buy a new suitcase for a trip you have coming up and it's going to cost you $300, instead of paying that all today, you could buy the suitcase today and then split the $300 across 4 equal interest-free payments. And you might think, great, interest-free. I can just sign up for these payments and then worry about paying it sometime later down the road. But it's not quite.
I know he's just giving an example here, but financing the suitcase for the vacation. That's a beautiful world, man. No, that's good. Write that down.
That simple. These buy now, pay later programs aren't necessarily groundbreaking financial technology. In fact, buy now, pay later programs are kind of a newer, modernized version of the old school layaway programs that you would see at stores like Kmart and Sears. These layaway programs allowed you to place a deposit on an item like a dishwasher, for example. And then the store would reserve that dishwasher for you to collect once you had paid off the dishwasher through their installment plan. But these layaway programs kind of fell off throughout much of the mid 20th century, mainly due to the introduction of credit cards cards and revolving lines of credit. Instead of using a layaway program and waiting to collect their item, people could just swipe a credit card, get their item today, and then worry about paying off that over the next couple months or years. The only problem is that a credit card will incur interest. People realize that if they didn't pay their credit card down on time, they would end up owing more than they initially spent on the item. So along came the modern marvel that is buy now, pay later, which gave you the best of both worlds. Get your product today, pay it off over a longer period of time, all while doing it interest-free. And that idea began hooking people in, because buy now, pay later has seen some explosive growth over the last 5 years, going from $2 billion in transaction volume in 2019 to $24.2 billion in 2021, and it's projected to reach as high as $122 billion in 2025. But
That's it. Only $122 billion from downtown. I think a big part of it is, tell me if I'm tripping here, but I think once they realize that sales are kind of flatlined, like people really can't, their credit cards are maxed, they can't be buying this shit. I think that's why every online, even in-person places, adopted this, just to keep up with basic sales. Just to keep up. Otherwise, people wouldn't be buying shit. And I'm not knocking it. I'm really not, honestly. Because as somebody who, I guess I technically kind of own a business in a sense. But if I'm a business owner and people can't afford my product, I got to do something. Or else I'm going out of business. So, but it's fucked up. Just think about it. That's where it's at. Shades are going back on. These lights are bugging me. Unreal, dude. 122 billion. No big deal.
This explosion wasn't just happening in a vacuum. It's actually part of three major cultural shifts that we've been seeing. First is the financialization of everything, meaning we've moved from a completely cash-based society to a society in which we look at even a $5 coffee as an opportunity to finance the transaction. Second, we have the rise of social media-driven consumption. As influencers showcase luxury lifestyle and products, buy now, pay later allows the average consumer the ability to experience those same things without actually incurring the cost today. And third, we have the post-pandemic spending boom, which has consumers using buy now, pay later as a form of revenge spending or buying things they feel like they missed out on during the pandemic. Combine all of that with a declining financial literacy among most young adults, and you have the perfect storm to make buy now, pay later explode as a new mentality. But why is this even a problem? If they're not charging interest, how can they actually be taking advantage of me as a consumer? To answer that question, we first need to look at the differences between buy now, pay later programs and traditional credit cards. Because on the outside, they're basically the same thing. Both financial devices allow you to buy something today that you might not necessarily be able to afford.
Yeah, but with credit cards, you can delay that shit for years, dude. Years. I'm pretty sure these buy now, pay later joints like Affirm and Klarna, they give you like a year tops or like 4 installments, 12 installments. They don't just go, yeah, this could be forever. Or maybe they do. Maybe they will. I don't know, man. The party's just getting started in here. I'm kind of it. I'm not enjoying it, but if everybody's doing it, it makes it okay. You know what I mean? Like, imagine doing the layaway program, right? Imagine if layaway was the only way, where you had to pay it off first, then you get it. You would never have that burrito. You would go starving, dude. You'd never have that pair of shoes. Forget the car. Oh, forget the car. By the time 7 years was up and you're ready to actually go pick your car up, it's outdated and you want a different one. You would never get it. Hey, man, money. Oh, no, this is fun, man. This guy's got a good video here.
Or be willing to put cash down today for. But a credit card usually involves some sort of approval process, application, review, and a credit report hit. Meanwhile, buy now, pay later programs offer an almost instantaneous approval for your purchase in the moment. Additionally, as we discussed, credit cards can accrue interest if not paid off by the end of the month. And that rate can be at crazy high rates, usually around 19 to 23%. On top of that, if you're late with your payment or you miss a payment, credit card companies can also add on late payment fees that just end up waterfalling you into insane amounts of credit card debt off of fairly simple purchases to begin with. And on the other hand, buy now, pay later offers 0% interest, which sounds great, but that all depends on if you actually pay your payments on time. If you don't, you'll be subject to late payment fees that can range anywhere from $2 to $15 per payment and going all the way up to 25% of the total value of the purchase you made initially. And with all that said, buy now, pay later still might sound like a perfectly good alternative to credit cards, which is exactly what they want you to think. Because buy now, pay later programs weren't necessarily designed to help the consumer like you or me. They were designed for stores and brands that want to sell more through their website or in their stores. After all,
Thank you. That's literally what I was just saying. Like when I set up a website for people to come and buy shit from me, thanks everybody who bought shirts and stuff, it gave me the option for the Afterpay, all that stuff. And I was like, no, dude. Like, no, if you can't afford a $40 shirt, do not fucking buy it. Please. When I used to sell on eBay, all this stuff behind me was because I used to do reselling, right? Vintage stuff. I would get messages, and this is something I've noticed. This is kind of trippy. On the lower end items, like $30 items, $40 items, I got so many people trying to haggle with me. Like, yo, will you take $20? Yo, will you take $15? And every time I'd tell them the same thing. I'd go, hey, don't buy it. Save your money. If it's still here 6 months from now, come and buy it. 9 times out of 10, the people would be like, you're right, dude. You're right. Like, I wouldn't insult them and be like, hey, loser, you don't have $40. Get out of here. But this is something to think about because I've also sold high-end items, $2,000 items, $3,000 items. Never once has anybody come to me with, hey, can you go half of the price on this? Never one time. There was never an issue. I had more refunds on $25 items than ever with anything over $200 or over $500. So where am I going with this? A lot of these Affirm and Afterpay things are for smaller items. Yeah. You guys do the math on that, okay?
Well, that's why brands are willing to pay 2 to 3% more for their transaction fees to use a buy now, pay later program versus a traditional credit card processor. To give you an example, let's look at a $100 purchase. If you bought a $100 item using a normal credit card on their site, the brand was typically going to incur about a $2.50 charge to process that payment. And on the other hand, if you were to use a buy now, pay later program, that transaction fee that the brand has to pay goes from $2.50 to about $5. But the merchant fees are just the beginning when it comes to buy now, pay later. So let's look at how these companies actually make money beyond just charging the brand that hosts them on their website. First, like we just discussed, they're going to collect that merchant fee, which is anywhere from 4 to 6% of the transaction price. Second, they profit from late fees, like we talked about earlier, which has turned out to be a pretty substantial revenue source for companies like Affirm and Klarna because one...
I just realized I'm such a bad businessman. Like, I literally go, no. No, you're not spending your money here. You are not financing this. You have a credit card? I can't do nothing about that. But I just realized that just now. Because I was thinking about when I turned that down. Like, no, dude. No, you're not putting 4 installments on this. Absolutely not. I'm such a... But also, what does this say about the future? Help. I just thought about that.
1 in every 3 users of these buy now, pay later programs actually ends up missing a payment at least once. And third, every purchase that is made reveals something about you or your shopping habits. And these companies have realized that that is very valuable information for other brands. So they actually harvest a lot of the data from your checkout pages and then sell it to other brands that can then use it in their marketing or in their ad targeting. And finally, they benefit from the sheer volume of loans being opened up by packaging yours and everybody else's debt together and selling it to larger financial institutions. They can make money even when you pay on time. In other words, they've created a system where they win no matter what happens to you financially. So now let's look at buying an iPhone for $1,000. When you reach the checkout page, you have 3 options. Number 1, pay the full $1,000 up front. This is the simplest, cleanest, and easiest way to get out of the checkout scotch-free. Option 2, you could use a credit card with the typical 20...
I love how he just had to explain that to us. That's awesome.
APR to purchase the phone. And if you only made the minimum payments, you would end up paying about $1,480 over the course of 5 years, with 480 of that being the interest alone. And option number 3 is you could use Afterpay's 4-payment installment plan, where you pay $250 today and then $250 every 2 weeks until the plan is paid off. Which sounds like the best deal to you? You see, brands have mastered psychological manipulation throughout their website, but specifically on the last hurdle, which is the checkout page. And they do this through 4 key tricks. First, they exploit what psychologists call the pain of paying. By splitting the cost over a longer period of time.
The pain of paying. Oh, this is good. Paying with cash is generally considered more painful than paying with a credit card or debit card. This is because cash is tangible, a tangible representation of money, and its loss is more immediately felt. Unreal.
Your brain actually registers less financial pain than paying the full amount up front. Second, they trigger.
This is actually kind of, I did this thing when I was younger. I don't do it anymore just because cash is losing so much value. But I would carry about $1,500 cash on me. And not to feel like I'm rich or anything. It'd be in hundreds, put a couple dollars over it. Looks like there's really not much money there. But I would always carry that on me, like a young age, like 22, 23. I'm a hustler, baby. And I did that because it was like because my dad did it. And he told me it's a way to treat this as pocket change. But also it's another way for you to, every time you shell it out, you're really seeing it right then and there. And I think that's a big part of why so many people go into debt. It's this blind shing. It's just a blind. But now it's not even just credit cards. Add it to the list. 4 installments. Unreal. But just something to think about with the cash. I don't do that anymore. Now I just put it into like gold and stuff because I like to have some cash at hand. But you don't carry like $500 on me, right? People are worried about getting robbed. Get the fuck out of here. When's the last time you've ever been robbed? Please. Sorry. I love bringing that one up. People are like, carrying cash is so dangerous. I'm like, dude, chill out, dude. Your bank's probably been hacked way more than you've ever been robbed or jumped. Just throwing that out there.
What is called the temporal discounting, which is our tendency to value immediate rewards more than future benefits, or otherwise known as instant gratification. Pay just $25 today and it's yours sounds a lot better than waiting and saving up for it. Third, they will create artificial urgency by simulating limited time offers in the checkout page. And finally, they use colors and shapes to direct your eye exactly where they want you to be looking. Have you ever noticed that the buy now, pay later button is often highlighted in a brighter color, and it's sometimes even pre-selected when you reach the checkout page? These aren't accidents. These are specific design decisions to short circuit your brain to making a financial decision.
And not only that, they have your information. So like somebody like me, if they have my information, they're going to know that I always just pay up front, right? I'm just going to pay for it. So they might have a different selection than somebody who uses this shit. And they go, oh no, here comes Teresa. She doesn't know how to spend money. She's retarded. Afterpay. They know you. Oh, they know you all too well. Oh, yeah. You think they don't? Huh? You really think they don't? Please. It's crazy conspiracy. Wow, wow, wow. Going out of my mind.
Decision more on an impulse than with rational thinking. Instead of thinking about a $100 purchase rationally and over a longer period of time, they'd rather have you just click the pay $25 now and worry about it later on. And again, this isn't necessarily a bad deal because people are always looking for interest-free ways of purchasing things so that their money can go and earn them more money while they're paying off the other thing that they purchased. But to do so requires some financial education or experience.
Dude, what? A lot of this Afterpay shit is like $100. No, let's look this up. No, seriously. How much is your fucking money making your extra $50 in interest making? It's not. It's not. It would take me more time to think how to make $50 make interest on it than No, what's the average? I want to know. All right, I couldn't find any information on that, but I guarantee you it's small. It's nothing huge, big enough to be like, oh, well, this $20,000 could be making me money over here. Like, seriously, though. No, absolute horseshit. No way.
Experience. And sadly, most Americans are completely undereducated when it comes to financial literacy. So the instant gratification syndrome kicks in and they buy practically everything with buy now, pay later, with no real concern that they will in fact have to pay that off at some point. All they're worried about is the price that they will pay today, which is exactly how you end up with this.
I've done groceries, I've done all kinds of crap on Afirm Klarna. But it adds up and then you are in a chokehold. And in some ways, it is worse than having credit card payments. It's crazy.
Because buy now, pay later is so easy to do, people are starting to use it on more and more occasions where it's really not meant to be used. Instead of just using it on a big purchase like a new fridge or a TV, they're starting to use it on smaller things and truly financing items that have no business being financed. A crazy story that we recently saw is that Klarna is now on DoorDash, which allows you to finance your $15 burrito over 4 payments of $375.
I've heard enough. We're going to the comments section. I'm sorry, but if people had to pay in full and do the layaway or just pay in full, no one, hardly anybody, I'd say about 7 people all in America, 7 people would have a brand new car. All right, that's a bit much, but you get my point. Nobody would be driving a new car. In burrito terms, dude, you'd be stoked 2 weeks from now. You'd be able to eat that burrito. like seriously though. All right, let me see. This comment section. This what was this guy's name? Grant Rudrow. Give him a like. Good video. Give him a sub. All right. I was generally confused when I saw pay in 4 during checkout on my Chipotle order. All right. I'm done with the Chipotle shit. The general rule of thumb I learned from my econ teacher was if you can't buy it twice comfortably, you can't really afford it. Yeah, well, apparently apparently she's wrong and she's right. Apparently people can afford it through Klarna. If you need to finance DoorDash, maybe you shouldn't be using DoorDash. Okay? You see, DoorDash is they're smart business people. Right? They're like, oh, sales are way down. What do we do? What everybody else is doing. Exactly. From a business perspective, it's genius. From you as a consumer, it's not so smart. I'm from New Zealand and I visited the USA for the first time last year. I was so shocked at the cultural level. Getting yourself into debt is so normal. Yeah, everyone's doing it, dude. Get on in here. Regular people driving around in Teslas and Porsches, people covered in jewelry, and the options to pay over time everywhere. In my country, it's normal for you to work for what you want to purchase. Yeah, when does this all come around and kind of bite people in the ass? I don't think it ever will. I think it's going to just, we're too big to fail, right? When is it going to come around and fuck us? Probably won't. Filing bankruptcy because you eat out too much would be wild. No. YouTube needs more people for people. These are such basic things that kids are not learning anymore. Oh, but what if they don't learn? Like, what happens if you don't pay your credit card? You get a bad credit score? They're not going to send you to jail. You're not going to prison. Like if you don't pay your Affirm, like nothing's going to happen to you. Seriously. I legit was behind a girl at a gas station one day and told her it was $6. She asked if they took Afterpay. No, come on. Gas stations aren't doing that. Golden rule of finance. Never borrow for longer than the life of the asset. Oh, dude. Tell that to everybody buying a car. Well, that wouldn't make sense for the burrito either because that's going in and out. I mean, you got 2-day processing time. That thing's going to be in the toilet. All right, let's see. Making payments on, everyone's tripping about the meal thing. I think it's bigger than just the food. If anything, you should be buying the food. You kind of need that to live. Treat it as if it's hooked up to your account. If you spend $100, that's $100 gone from your bank account. I can't believe there are so many real-life functioning adults that fail to grasp even the most basic concept of money. I'll leave this link to this dude's channel down below, but I think it's a good thing for businesses, and it's terrible for everybody else. I wonder how far this is going to go. Like, I'm really excited to see how far can we take it? The consumer debt. I'm really curious. Like, sometimes I feel like, since I don't drive the nicest car, or I'm not financing this and that, I don't feel necessarily behind. But to paint you a picture, I make great money, right? So I make over $100,000 a year, and I'm just being transparent here, right? But I drive a 2007 car, okay? So recently, I had some people in town, and two people I didn't know, and I'm driving us, and they get in the car, and the one chick who gets in my car goes, "We're not going to break down, are we?" But the way they were kind of talking to me was as if, so I do understand why people would make like crazy purchases when it comes to clothing or cars. I get that, because there is a judgment level. But I'm just saying, I do get why people would want to look as if, like, almost like you don't want to be judged. But the joke's on you, because now you're getting judged for using Klarna. A retard. Anyway, solid talk. Shout out to everybody who bought a shirt. Thanks to all the channel members. I appreciate you. Unreal, dude. I'm clocking out. It's Saturday. I'm done working. Crazy.